And did you learn anything at all?
I mean, Gabriella, first and foremost, it is so good to be back with you. My fave, I'm back with my fave. I always said that I'd be back for big royal moments, big momentous moments. And this is it. I got to tell you, I learned a lot. I learned how to open a pretzel bag and I learned how to put it in a plastic bag. And oh my goodness, the biggest skill of all, I learned how to tie a ribbon and label those bags. Oh, skills that I need to learn, essential lifestyle skills there. I mean, I did enjoy the show. I know I make fun of it, but I enjoyed the show, but not for the reasons why Meghan probably wanted me to enjoy the show. I the way I've been kind of describing it is, if you attend a stand-up comedy show, and then there's a joke which is just so bad, and it falls completely flat, and it bombs so spectacularly that you cannot help but laugh, and so it's unintentionally funny. That's what I thought of this show. I don't want to call it a cooking show. It is a lifestyle show. I think it's not relatable in any sense of the word. It is, I would call it more aspirational more than anything. But it shows Meghan exactly for who she is. And this almost kind of, not a person that hasn't got a single genuine bone in her body, or at least doesn't want to express her true self. And then the parts that she's showing that she's this kind of pedantic person that likes everything done in a certain way and that likes to quote unquote elevate everything. That's the big buzzword of the series. What we learned from the series is she loves chopping. One of the big recipes, quote unquote, a rainbow fruit platter. How lovely. And I mean, that girl loves the crudité tray. I mean, I was watching this with my brother, and I think we counted there were 3 trays of crudité made within 5 episodes, and all of the trays crudité had flour sprinkles on them. Of course they did, because Meghan loves flour sprinkles or hemp seeds or chia seeds, and every single of her own quote-unquote recipes has to have that. But the other moments that I loved the pasta recipe, non-recipe as I like to call it. I mean, which is basically chop up some cherry tomatoes with a bit of olive oil, a bit of garlic, a bit of lemon zest, and water, and then put uncooked pasta in water. Hey, presto. I mean, I love it that Netflix has literally spent millions upon millions upon millions of pounds on her to show her basically opening pretzels and putting other items into different plastic bags and labeling things. Marvel at a beekeeper in a house which is not even her own, most likely. I mean, the kitchen that she cooks everything in, it's not her own house. Prince Harry appears in it for all of 20 seconds, if not that, in the final episode. And you've got a load of these quote-unquote recipes that, I kid you not, anybody can do. They're not genuine. They're not groundbreaking. The show is not groundbreaking in any sense of the word. Is it unintentionally funny because it's so pitiful? That's what I think it is.
Well, I want you to have your own show. Well, luckily we've got you on ours so we can have a laugh about it. But it's just so cringe seeing her trying to attach so much meaning to every small thing that she does. And as you say, not very groundbreaking. But I want to talk to you about Princess Catherine, because new data has confirmed that she remains the most popular member of the royal family. A YouGov poll found that 74% of Brits have a positive opinion of both William and Catherine. But of course, it is a different story for Harry and Meghan. 61% have a negative view of Prince Harry. It's even higher for Meghan Markle. It's 68% have an unfavourable view of Meghan. Now, as we know, Harry and Meghan love to blame the media for their, lack of popularity, but this is what the data shows, that the Sussexes, they actually had a relatively high public approval rating up until Brexit in 2020. But just looking at that data, overall, the British monarchy remains in good shape with the public, with 58% of the UK holding a positive opinion of the Windsors as a whole, and 55% of Brits approve of the institution of the monarchy. Now, there are no real surprises there that Princess Catherine remains so popular. And despite all the media deals and the new Netflix appearance by Meghan Markle, just Meghan and Harry, they can't seem to boost their popularity. Why is that?
Well, I think the main reason is because they've just backed themselves into a corner so much with everything that they've done, pretty much. Like, ever since Megxit, what have they done? Completely bashed the royal family, whether it's the Oprah interview, whether it's kind of subtle digs or not so subtle digs in the Archwell podcast, an interview with The Cut, their Harry and Meghan fly on the wall documentary reality series for Netflix, where it was just a moonathon of everything that they hated about the royal family and the royal institution and the systems that they all hate. So what they've effectively done is they've kind of backed themselves into a corner, because everything that they try to do just doesn't seem genuine, because all they've done is just moaned and moaned and moaned and moaned. And when they showed their actual passions, well, people aren't necessarily interested, because let's be honest, the only reason why people think they're relevant enough to show these passions is because of their connections to the royal family. Now, I mean, I got to tell you, Prince Harry used to be one of the most popular, if not the most popular member of the royal family, underneath her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I'm not going to say, oh, it's because of his marriage to Meghan Markle, because, I remember at their 2018 wedding, there was almost universal joy across the United Kingdom. It was an absolutely incredible moment. So I'm not going to blame Meghan for it, but what I am going to blame is their constant whinging, their constant moaning. Meanwhile, when we look at Princess Catherine and Prince William, the Prince of Wales, when we look at what they've only had to deal with over the past year, when you've had two senior members of the royal family both simultaneously undergoing cancer treatment, you can't help but think, actually, forget the fact that they're royals. This is hard for anyone to deal with in any situation, no matter what family you're a part of. So bearing in mind, they've had to live through all of that on such a public scale. So it's no wonder that people, feel sorry for them. They can relate to them a little bit more. And despite all of that, the mantra, never complain, never explain. They've never once complained. They haven't put a foot wrong. And they've just kept on going. And then they've been reappearing in the most beautiful manner, whether it's attending Wimbledon, whether it's trooping the colour. They've always kept on going despite all the obstacles that they faced recently. Yes. So you can't help but think, how brilliant. And they're everything that Harry and Meghan are not. Whilst Harry and Meghan have gone down this commercial route, this tacky route, even though Prince Harry, bearing in mind, has the Invictus Games. And this is the thing, a 30% rating, despite the fact that he still got Invictus and he's still doing Invictus, that should speak volumes over how people view him. Yeah. And Harry and Meghan, they've only got themselves to blame, because they've backed themselves into a corner. And despite all of this kind of reputation management, trying to relaunch brands, it's all a bit of a mess. They can't do it.
No, they can't. We're seeing that. We're all having a laugh at the new show. King Charles is launching a personal playlist of music that seems to lift his spirits. Now, the artists include Bob Marley, Kylie Minogue and Grace Jones. Now, who was photographed at Buckingham Palace for the music project called The King's Music Room.
Throughout my life, music has meant a great deal to me. It has that remarkable ability to bring happy memories, comfort us in times of sadness, and to take us to distant places. But perhaps, above all, it can lift our spirits to such a degree, and all the more so when it brings us together in celebration. In other words, it brings us joy.
Josh, what do you make of the timing of this project launching just days after Meghan's new show?
I absolutely love every single thing about this because it's days after the after the new show where Meghan's like, "Oh, I'm Meghan Sussex now," and all of her fans are all rushing to call her Meghan Sussex, despite the fact that they've been calling her Meghan Markle for the past however many years since her marriage to Prince Harry. So what's that? 20, like over 7 years now. So the fact that they're rushing to call her Meghan Sussex, and again, it's this kind of tie to the royal family, and the royal family have now gone, yeah, so we're going to launch a on-air project of our own, and it's going to celebrate everything that we love. It's celebrating the Commonwealth. It's for Commonwealth Day, and it includes some of the best artists. You know, when you've got contributions from the likes of British singer-songwriter Ray, who recently performed at the Oscars this year. She performed as part of the James Bond medley. So you've got a real kind of, this is the Royals, you know, it's a very different sort of project than what we're used to seeing from them. This is very much proving that, yes, they are this age-old institution, still very much in touch with the public, still very much liking you know, pop, you know, branching into modern pop culture. That's something that late Majesty the Queen did so well with her sketches with James Bond at the 2012 Olympic Games, and then also for Paddington Bear for her Platinum Jubilee as well. Artists featured include Bob Marley, Kylie Minogue, Grace Jones, and also Nigerian-American singer-songwriter Davido as well. It's to celebrate music and culture from across all the Commonwealth countries. I love the fact that it's an on-air project just days after this absolute kind of show off. I'm still connected to the royal family from Meghan. It is absolutely genius. I don't necessarily want to call it trolling by the palace, but I can definitely see why they've released it at this time. And it's also yet another reminder of actually how the palace hierarchy works, because Meghan and Harry, they went on about service, and service is universal. Well, when it comes to the royal family, service effectively means serving the monarch, serving the institution, and that means being a support to whoever the monarch is. And what this is a great reminder of the hierarchy, because it still shows, well, you can really release your Netflix show, but His Majesty the King is going to release his own project just days after. So whilst Meghan Markle and the palace whilst Meghan Markle said, oh, she's Meghan Sussex now, and the palace allegedly viewed that as shots fired, this is kind of a little bit of shots fired back. This is very much a reminder who really is in charge.
So good to speak with you. Love having you on the show. Josh Rom, have to speak to you again soon.
Cannot wait, Gabriella. Sending you all my love from London. Mwah.